Hi, everybody. I hope everyone can hear me. Um, I just wanted to say thank you all for coming. Um, oh, excuse my technology for today. We're going to do the best that we can. So I'd just like to welcome anybody who's returning from the fall and last year and all of our new families. Welcome to the NIS family. Our mission statement for NIS is on our website, but even in this COVID crisis world, we do plan to still work towards our mission statement, which is to serve with warmth, enlightenment, and security, have a creative learning center, and provide therapeutic and educational services with love and the highest standard of expertise. I'm going to try to answer some questions today. As everybody knows, we're doing 3 of these sessions. So if I don't get to your question today, I promise I will get it. And our goal is to put this up on the website for anybody who wasn't able to join us. So today, we are going to talk about what the requirements are to remain open, our modified school schedule, our communication plan, and our facility modification plan. Wednesday, we're having another one of these. During that time, we're going to talk about a health and safety plan, which includes our sick policy, the daily health screening, and all of our cleaning protocols. And then on Friday, we'll talk a little bit about some of the curriculum stuff we're doing, and we'll do a quick review and answer any outstanding questions. So for today, if you have any questions during the presentation after, if you can use your chat, there's not a lot of people, we might be able to talk it out also. But if you have a question at any point, you can just type it into the chat and we'll try to get to it before the end. But if you have a question about your child or very specific to your family, I really suggest you email one of Jay Silverstein, the executive director, myself, Kristen Moran, the associate executive director, or Maureen Rockwood, the director of education. I'm going to put our phone numbers and our emails back up at the end, so you'll have time to get them down. They're also all on the website. So we're able to open because Governor Cuomo said schools can open if we're in phase 4 and the infection rate is below 5% and we don't rise above 9% using a 7-day average. So the hope is that we can stay open for the whole school year. However, at any point, the Department of Health or the governor's office feels it's unsafe for us to remain open, we will be closed as we were closed in March. So what I've been telling the staff, and we will continue to share with our families, is we are all gonna be determining whether things stay open. If we all follow our rules at school, at home, when we're out in the community, wearing a mask, staying socially distancing, washing hands, we will be able to stay open. And our hope is truly to not close, to go to full remote if we don't have to. NIS was required to submit a plan to reopen. The benefit we had is we were open this summer, so we were able to take what we did and all the guidelines and safety protocols we put into place and tweak them for some September. There were some new regulations and requirements. We were able to kind of work out some kinks, but I have to say the summer went wonderful. The kids seemed to really enjoy being back in school. Everyone felt safe. We had no issues with compliance of any of our new protocols. We did not have to close any classrooms. Our cleaning protocols were able to stay in place and they seem to be effective. But if anybody's wondering, we use the documents, Recovering, Rebuilding, and Renewing, the Spirit of New York Schools Reopening Guidance, which is an 145-page document that the State Department of Education released. The New York State Department of Health also released an interim guidance for in-person instruction. They have released 2 of them since I believe it was May. So this last one that we are following is dated July 13th. It is for September. However, they will update them as they see fit. We also have regulations from the Office of Children and Family Services. So for anyone who doesn't know, we are licensed by the Office of Children and Family Services as a daycare site. Any full day school with children under the age of 5 also has to be licensed by the Office of Children and Family Services. So some people think it's just because we have childcare in the building. It's any school that goes over 4 hours. And also the CDC guidance. Now, everything is based off of the CDC guidance, but as anyone who's been on the website, they do get a little more specific. The one thing I can ask and tell everyone is the plan will change. We will revise it, we will update it, we will have to adjust it based on what's happening in the community, what's happening in the school. We will keep up to date with it, and we will do our best to communicate any changes with you as soon as possible. And I'll talk a little bit about how we're going to do that in a few minutes. All summer and in the spring, I was asking parents and staff to be flexible and be patient, which I have to say everyone was. And if we all work together, we'll really have a good school year. So the school schedule. So as everybody got a letter, in that letter, it did give your child's timing of their school. We did break the school kind of in half, so that half the kids are coming arriving at one time and leaving at one time, and the other half of the kids are coming at a different time. And then our nursery, our gen ed classes, half-day classes that are only here for half day, they're coming at slightly different times. And the reason we did that is we can have up to 200 students in the building with our new regulations, but it's very hard to maintain social distancing and reduce density at arrival and dismissal. So the best way to do that was to split it. It's also will allow for drop off and pickup to be much quicker. So if you have any questions about your child's time, I suggest you definitely give us a call about it. The other thing it allows us to do is we're not going to be floating people in and out of your child's class. It's going to be a static cohort of children and staff unless someone's out sick. But by doing the reduced stay, your children get lunch, but the staff is staying there with them for that whole 4.5 hours. And we just felt this was a safer plan for your children and for our staff. And also we are closing the building a little bit early so that we can do a thorough cleaning of it every night. However, we will be providing activities, pre-recorded lessons every week through a newsletter. So anyone who was with us in the spring, we were sending out weekly newsletters. We are still going to be doing that, and there will be activities for you to be able to do with your child, lessons, recordings to show your child. We're going to have videos with Pet Pals, which is our dogs, which the kids really love. We're going to have the library, gym, language lessons, academic lessons, and just some fun things for you to kind of supplement when you're home. You could watch them on the weekends. You can watch them after they get home from school, at your discretion. We also are not able to provide before and after care. The Office of Children and Family Services rules are you're not allowed to take from one class and another class and mix them. So if I had 10 kids in aftercare from 5 different rooms, I would have to hold 5 different aftercares. And I have checked multiple times to make sure that hadn't changed. But unfortunately, at this time, we're not able to provide before and after care, which also means we can't provide that lunch bunch for kids who come for half a day who want to extend the day. We're not able to do that anymore. So arrival and dismissal, as I said before, this is where I saw a large cluster of people coming up. And so the staggering of time will help with this, but just so everyone has a picture of what that could be. If your child is taking a bus, well, let's start backwards. If your child has an IEP, you have a choice of a bus or parent mileage reimbursement. So if you decide that you want to drive your child, the county will reimburse you per mile that you drive. That would have to be done through your school district. And then we would supply you with attendance every month to submit to the county. If your child is taking a bus, the bus is provided by Suffolk County. So the rules are not ours and they could change. These are the rules that they have kind of abided by this summer, and we will communicate if we hear any different. The buses will have less children on them. They had one child per seat unless there were two children coming from the same household. The adults on the bus will wear a mask. They do ask the children wear a mask on the bus, especially getting on the bus and getting off the bus. No child was refused from the bus for not wearing a mask this summer. So I expect that to be the same in the fall. However, I'll get to face coverings and masks in a few minutes, and I'll let you know what our plan is for that. We are limiting the amount of people who are taking children off the bus, and that is to reduce interactions and allow for social distancing with our staff. But we're also kind of reducing the amount of adults that interact with your child, so that, you know, holding their hands, keeping safety. So we are looking at that on a regular basis. We also, if we take more than one child off the bus, they will, and they're not from the same class, they will not be holding hands. They will only be holding hands of the adult who also is cleaning their hands between getting kids off of the bus. So communication. So as I said, we're doing 3 of these meetings this week, but we are going to communicate with you regularly. Everyone got paper mail. We're not going to do that too much, but we have everyone's addresses, so sometimes it is easier to just do a mailing. We are asking everyone to sign up for the constant contact email list. That is through our website. I'll put a reminder up at the end of how you can do that. Through the email list, we do the weekly or bi-weekly newsletters, and that will have attachments to videos, the lessons that we're pre-recording, obviously phone calls. And then we also are doing the blooms. We have purchased a communication app. So what you can do with the blooms, some classes use the Remind Me app. We have decided to do a full, all our classes using the blooms. It's a little more centered around early childhood students. It will allow us to do full building-wide announcements, memos. It will allow us to translate. It can allow you to talk to the teacher. So all of the teachers' communications with you will, regular communication will be through the blooms. You can always call them and set up a time to talk to them, but the blooms app really will give you kind of a, an easy way to communicate, know what's going on during the day, reminders. An example is, and we didn't use it this summer, but there was a tropical storm and we had to close the school. If we had had blooms active at that point, a blooms notification would have went to every parent and everyone would have known, okay, school is closed. Where this past summer, when we closed, it was on our normal News 12, it was on our website, Facebook, things like that. However, when you're not thinking of snow, parents often aren't thinking of school closing. And that's where we think this will be a benefit to you guys. So if for some reason we have to close a classroom, we can communicate with you very quickly. We will give instructions to all parents on how to join that at the beginning of school. Okay. So everybody's heard the word social distancing enough for probably the rest of your life. How we're going to do it here at NIS, we are staggering staff times coming in and out, children's arrivals and dismissal. For our staff, we're using different entrances and exits. For the children at this time, we believe the staggering arrival and dismissal will allow us to only use the main door. If at any point we feel we need to use more than the main entrance, we will communicate with you, because we do have a rear entrance we can use. Early childhood, the nature of it does not encourage social distancing. However, what we will do is we'll provide, smaller centers. So maybe instead of having 4 or 5 kids at a center, they'll have 2 or 3. They will set up more centers. At times when it's appropriate, we'll space the kids out further from each other. The adults, as long as it doesn't affect the core activity of the teaching, they'll keep social distance from each other. They will not keep social distance from the kids. And that's just, it's a natural for them to stay distant from kids. They will be wearing a mask, and they will all be washing their hands a lot. And we'll get to that also. We are also have lots of signs up throughout the school as you walk into the school, reminding people to keep social distance. We're asking families to keep social distance from each other as you wait to drop off and pick up your child. And our hallways, we have actually marked down the middle. So we're trying to allow for only one-way traffic flow on each side of the hallway. So.
Kristen?
Yeah.
Oh, there was just a question about masks already. Are you just about to go into that for the children and the requirements?
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention, just with the busing, there was one family that had a hard time because they told the bus driver they would not wear a mask on the bus, but it seemed what the drivers were looking for was just that you were attempting to. They were completely understanding if a child was having a hard time, but they wanted to feel comfortable that you were going to try, and we are going to help the children learn how to keep that comfortable. Just so you know, if you didn't come in the summer, it was amazing how well the children adapted to wearing the masks, all of the children. So we were pleasantly surprised that it was easier than we would have ever thought possible for them. But again, not required, but we will help them get comfortable. If of course they're not comfortable, then that's okay too.
All right. Yes. So all staff and all visitors must wear a mask. Just so everyone knows, that was Maureen Rockwood, Director of Education.
Thank you.
All staff and visitors must wear a mask at all times. And I have to say, the staff is amazing at wearing their masks. We do provide face shields. Quite a few of them had transparent, clear masks, depending on what their position was. Face shields are not allowed walking through the hallways and everything. If anytime it's not a task that has some safety required, they have to wear a mask and a shield, or just a face mask. What we are asking the students to do is for every child to bring a mask to school. Students who are able to wear it during certain activities will be encouraged to do so. New York State does encourage masks for all students unless the core activity, the wearing of masks, interferes with their education, interferes with the activity they're doing. So given the fact that our children are all under the age of 5, some very well could do it. Others will have problems. It will be distracting. It will interfere with their learning. And we won't make them wear a mask. For the students who are willing, we had some parents who asked for their child, they would wear it. Could they wear it during the day? Absolutely. We will encourage it, and we will give them mask breaks. So which means that even if they're wearing a mask during the day, it wouldn't be for the whole day. They wouldn't need it when they ate lunch, snack, but then there would be other times when we were outside. And then on a regular basis throughout the day, we would encourage them to take it off as a break. And as Maureen said, we did encourage and strongly encourage kids to wear it coming and going to school. And I think we did that about the second week of the summer program, and so many kids wore it. I mean, it was so amazing how well the kids did it. Some, we didn't actually put it on until they really were in the lobby or right at the bus. Others just wore it proud. And it was really nice to see. We were super impressed with it. If the teachers will be, kind of doing some lessons on wearing masks, given the nature of everything that's happening in the nation, it doesn't appear that masks are going to go away very soon. So getting kids comfortable with the fact that the adults in their lives are wearing masks, introducing them to the idea of wearing masks, we're going to do it. We are not going to be removing anyone from school because they're not wearing a mask. We're not going to be not allowing them in the building because they're not wearing a mask. It is just going to be incorporated into the classroom lessons. So hand hygiene, that's not my word, that's the state word. We wash our hands at NIS all the time. We always have. What we've done now is just step it up a bit. So they will be washing their hands often during the day, upon entering the classroom, before and after snack and lunch, after using the bathroom, if they sneeze or wipe their nose or put their fingers in their mouth, we're going to be washing their hands before they go on the playground and upon returning from the playground, before they go to therapy and when they come back from therapy. And anytime they're using any kind of shared object, any toys, the sensory material will be their own, like Play-Doh and slime, but we're also encouraging them to wash their hands before and after. Again, most of these are not new times we're washing hands, but we are supervising it even for the 4-year-old kids who are very independent. We are really making sure they're washing them properly. They're using soap. They're washing them for 20 seconds and then rinsing them and drying them off. We have installed hand sanitizer dispensers throughout the building. All classrooms have access to soap and water. But there could be a time your child's in therapy, we will clean their hands, but we do have hand sanitizer available. In the past, we did not allow children to use hand sanitizer, but again, this is a little bit different world, and safety comes first, your child's safety, your family's safety, and the staff safety. And it's not just your kids that are washing their hands, the staff is washing their hands constantly also. Okay, so in the facility, these are some of the modifications we've made. No class will have more than 15 students in them. So if your child is in a 612, an 812, or a 1211, those ratios will stay as they always have. However, our kids that are in our 1821 or our 1811 UPK standalone classes, we will be reducing the amount of students to 15 in those classes. So the adults will stay the same, so it would be a 15-1. And that it really comes out of the Office of Children and Family Services requirement to maintain no more than 15 children in a room. As I said before, the classes will stay together. They will not be interacting with other classes. Gym, library, music, we are allowed to push in, but we at this point have decided to complete it virtually or outside. This summer it went very well. All 3 of those areas did a virtual class into the classroom, and it went much better than we had expected. So we're going to continue that. While the weather's nice, if the special teacher plans something outside, we will use our outside area. And again, but it will be 1 class at a time. We are utilizing our playgrounds, so we have a playground schedule. We currently have the 2 playgrounds, the sensory garden and the regular playground. Only 1 class will go out at a time. And we are cleaning the high touch points on the playground between classes. So we do think it's important that your kids get to be outside, run around, play, interact with each other.
There is a designated area in the sensory garden that is fenced off for the specials that Kristen's talking about. So the kids will still go on the playground. There's another 3rd area that they'll use on the playground.
And we are thinking of using that 3rd area for some of our gross motor services,
Yes.
to let kids kind of stretch their legs a bit during physical therapy. I think I had already said our centers, we're gonna have less children at the centers. When they're having lunch and snack, we're gonna try to keep some consistency with where they're sitting. So maybe sitting next to the same child, just some formality in knowing where kids are and who they're with. We are not using the open space for group activities, which is very sad for us. We love doing special events and we love having parents come in, but this year it has just been determined, unless things change, that it's not safe for us to use the open space for group activities. And just in case people wanted to know, we updated our air conditioning handle about 2 years ago, which allowed for a maximum amount of natural air to be used. We also have had the MERV 13 filters installed. So that is the recommended filter for COVID-19. So if you understand anything I just said, I'm impressed. I am just reiterating what I've been told by maintenance and building people. But basically what it is we feel that we're not recirculating our air. We are bringing new air in, and it is giving the staff and the children the safest community as possible. So for children who have therapies, and even for parents whose children don't have therapies, your child will be in a class where there will be therapists coming in and out of. We will be doing push-ins and pull-outs into the therapist's office or into what I'm going to call the designated treatment space. We are doing everything we can to keep one therapist in a classroom per discipline. So that means in the past, we might have had 2 or 3 speech pathologists working within one class. We are trying to do their schedules so that class, they see all the children in that class. They may see children from another class at a different time, but we're trying to reduce the number of adults that go into the room. So we're doing the best we can with that. If a therapist sees children from 2 different classes, they will see your child back to back with children from their classroom. And once they switch to seeing children from a different classroom, before that, their whole office will be cleaned and sanitized. We have, on Wednesday, I know we're going to go through cleaning and stuff, but we have invested in a lot of cleaning supplies, and we have a fogging machine. So it's everything we have allows for us to really make sure your child's going into a safe space. Hand washing will happen before and after they go to therapy. The large physical therapy rooms and occupational therapy rooms, anybody who knows those rooms, they're just big open spaces. There is interaction between kids and therapists so often. We have created, using dividers and some plastic sheets hanging from the wall, to personal treatment space. So every physical therapist and every occupational therapist has their own area that they've made their own that is completely cleanable and sanitizable. And they do the exact same thing as I said. If they see kids back to back from one classroom, they'll see them in their treatment area, and then the area will be cleaned and sanitized between. Kids who don't want to stay in their personal treatment space, we've had that happen, and you know what, we're working with it. We're trying to entice the child to want to be in that area. We do have some office space that allows for safety if a kid really wants to kind of move around too much. We have some empty offices that we're creating into therapy space, and the outside spaces also going to be used for gross motor, because one of the things we felt this summer is some kids, you can work on a lot of skills and when I say they're smaller areas, they're not tiny, they're just smaller than the whole room. They want the child to be able to run a little bit more, do some really big gross motor activities, and until we can't, we'll be doing those outside. New York State has allowed for some flexibility in respect to IEP implementations. And how we're looking at that is location is usually an IEP driven service. If your child has a pullout and it's more appropriate for safety and for other reasons to do a push-in, we don't have to go back to committee to have that changed. If your child, if they're doing a push-in and your child and another child have the same or very similar goals and it's appropriate, maybe we'll work with your two children at once. This summer, we didn't have to do too much of this flexibility, but it is there. And just know that we are going to provide your child with what they need to be successful at NIS. We are still doing safety drills. We're going to be doing evacuation drills. We're going to be doing lockdown drills. We are just doing them a little different. We are still going to be doing the drills, keeping social distance. We're just going to be splitting the building up. But in case of a true emergency, our staff will know that social distancing does not trump a fire. So we will get your children out in a safe manner and we will keep them protected. But during a drill, there's no reason for us to put them in any harm's way. So we're going to practice social distancing during the safety drills. So that was it. I cannot see the chat though. Maureen, can you see it?
I can. So let me just pull up. The first question was about the masks, which we did talk about. Just as far as orientation, tours and meeting the teacher, we're not able to bring in people to do an orientation. Your teacher will call you before school starts to introduce themselves, but it's very unlikely that you would be able to come in and meet them, or we're not allowed to have visitors in the building. There are a couple of families, a very small handful, that have never been to NIS. They were placed here by their committee and really didn't even know where we were located. We are having those families come in now that school's over by themselves and go through the whole process, the temp taking, attestation signing, and do a mini tour. If you're one of those families, you've never been here, you don't know enough about us to feel comfortable, please just give me a call. So I will set that up for you. But there is the tour on the website as well, which Kristen will mention. Oh, Kristen, if you want to just explain more specifically, so districts are allowed to provide before and after care, but we are not, and Kristen can explain that.
Okay, so as I had said at the beginning, we are licensed by the Office of Children and Family Services. So they license under 5 anytime it's over 4 hours. So our whole building is licensed under Office of Children and Family Services. We have a daycare license. That is the regulatory body that will not allow us to mix from one class to another. And our school is too large for us to hold an before and after care for each classroom. So that's why. And as I said, if it changes at any point, we will gladly adopt the before and after care program. But as of now, they will not let us mix the children from different classes.
Okay, and the next question was just about drop off for parents who drive their children. So we do have separate lines for that. We're really just encouraging you to come just a couple of minutes before school starts. We start to let the parent line in just a little bit before the busing line. Thank you, Kristen Savino, who said it went very, very well over the summer. And it did. It really, once we got that down after a couple of days, we were able to really manage it. And now with the staggering, our hope is that it is going to be very smooth and not confusing. But there will be signs outside, so look for signs where to stand, where to wait. But there'll be plenty of staff out there to help you kind of acclimate to what you should be doing, where you should be waiting, and we'll try to keep that running as smooth as possible.
I can tell you that for the summer, we went with one plan the first few days, and we realized we needed to make a modification. Actually, they started busing, and the parents they knew one way, and we switched it very quickly. Everybody adopted the new plan. So hopefully we start off this school year not having to change it after a week, but it will take a little longer until your child is comfortable until we know your child and who their teacher is. Same with pickup and drop off. But once we have that down, it will go much quicker. We do have a large awning in the front. However, as of now, all arrival and dismissal will be done outside. So as I said to the summer parents, just dress for any weather. If at any point this changes and we can allow more people into the building, we'll be able to do that. But as of now, there are no parents permitted in the building unless there's an exception. I mean, we are able to make exceptions for essential visitors, but we are trying to reduce the number of visitors in the building to only essential.
Okay. If someone asked just a little bit about how will services look like PT and OT? So if I think Kristen probably answered that question well already, but if you do, Mrs. Mavrich, have another question about that, please just input if you needed further clarification. Megan pointed out that today Governor Cuomo said that all children must wear a mask. That was as of today, Kristen. So I'm not sure. I am sure that children with special needs probably are still going to fit into a different group and preschoolers as well. But we will look at those guidelines for clarification.
Yeah, I can tell you that what the actual what it's actually written is students for whom such a covering would impair their health or mental health, or where such covering would present a challenge, distraction, or obstruction to education services and instruction. So those, and if a child is under 2, those are, I'm going to say, the exception to wearing a mask. And that is where we're going to change up this fall, is we're going to ask every child to bring a mask. We're not going to assume that they can't wear a mask. We will try.
Yes. Just a question about whether or not there'll be general education students in the 18, and yes, there definitely will still be. There's 5 children with an IEP, and the additional children going up to the 15 will be from our general education population.
No, there's eight children with an IEP.
Yes, that's what I said. 8 children with an IEP, and the additional number up to 15 will be gen ed. Will you be discussing the kids who chose virtual learning and the satellite classes at Eagle? Go ahead, Kristen.
So I think with the children who did virtual, I think what we probably will do, because a lot of this plan doesn't really pertain to what virtual will look like, we probably should schedule something separate. There is a very small cohort.
Yeah, I believe I've spoken to most of them, but I can certainly speak to them individually too, because right now there's only 7 children.
Right. And as for Eagle, I think I can't give you specifics about that. I actually have a meeting with them tomorrow to find out what the school looks like. So up until Friday, we weren't sure if any of our satellites were going to run because of state funding, but they did get approval on Friday. So we're working right now to create all of our satellite plans and find out all of the individual rules that they are requiring us to abide by.
Okay, Mrs. Zarkey was on the Health and Safety Reopening Committee as a parent member in Islip, and air filtration was her life for a while, so she understands exactly what we're talking about there.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Megan. If a parent absolutely 100% want their child to wear a mask at all times, how will this be enforced in a class where other kids aren't wearing masks? So I mean, that really is our goal, and we'll be talking about it quite a lot in the classrooms. The children will know that that is, what we want them to do. It will be reinforced. So we're going to absolutely, especially if a parent really wants that to happen, we are going to focus on it. And I don't, lots of our children have different kind of rules and things that apply to them. And the other children just begin to understand that everybody, has different things that they're working on, and it really becomes okay. And they're really not so concerned about what other kids are doing as much as they are about what their own little person is doing. So I don't foresee that to be a big issue, but we can certainly talk about it individually and with the classroom teacher if there's any concerns with that.
I definitely would, if you are sure your child will wear a mask and you really want that to happen, I would definitely communicate that with the teacher at the beginning of the school year. When they give you a call, you'll have their email. Because I think sometimes teachers want to know this is what's been enforced at home, and it is easier for us to enforce it at school if they're already comfortable with it. I can tell you that the parents who were open and willing, and you could see it was a communication in their household, the kids were more accustomed to it. There are definitely some kids who have sensory issues who just they're not understanding the mask, and they're not really complying with. Those kids are going to need a little bit more time, a little bit more work, and we don't know how successful it'll be, but we're going to keep trying every week.
There's just one parent with a concern. Their little one will not wear the mask. We will continue to work on it. But believe it or not, we weren't sure about how the masks would work. And we were, pretty much just going to be no masks for kids. But when the buses started, we were really pleasantly surprised to see how many of those children kept the masks on. So just so you know, even the children in the autism program, where we would have more sensory issues and possibly just children who don't understand, what it's all about, wearing their masks very happily. And a lot of the masks have, cute different characters on them, and they're surprisingly proud to wear their masks. And as they see everybody wearing them, I keep on saying it's almost like shoes. You think it's so hard and difficult, but they see everybody wearing them, and it just becomes comfortable and second nature. And it's remarkable, but we will absolutely help you with that. So don't you worry about it. As far as supplies, right now, I think all that we're asking for you to bring to school is just the backpack, lunchbox, snack. We're just going to try and limit anything back and forth in the backpack. Teachers will tell you specifically about pull-ups, diapers, change of clothes, and how you should send those things in.
We just those supplies, we will give every child individual crayons, markers, glue stick. We're not going to be sharing those materials, as well as we're not sharing sensory materials, Play-Doh, slime, rice, pasta, whatever the classroom uses. So the children have individual, I know some of the classes did individual sensory bins for every child. If at any point we need help from parents to kind of help support us doing that, we will communicate that with you. Right now we have an army of people who are willing to make us Play-Doh so that kids can constantly have access to their own individual Play-Doh.
Okay, we just have a mom reporting that her guys are wearing their mask happily, which is great to hear. A parent has suggested a Zoom session to meet teacher assistants, therapists. You will be part of the Blooms app, so that is a portion that you kind of work out with the teacher for sure, but that is a great suggestion. And you do send it, yes, bring lunch and a snack. It is not provided.
Mm-hmm. That nutrition actually eating is going to be on Wednesday, but one of the things we have always done is community meals and community snack. And unfortunately, we had to stop that this year because of the COVID-19 crisis. But this classrooms reported the kids still are working on those community goals of, sitting, having a snack together. It's a very social time, and we don't want to take that away from the kids. We're just now getting them to get the snack from their backpack, or we're getting it from their lunch bag. So.
And just to meet the teacher night, our virtual will probably be virtual more than likely. Yes.
We will communicate all that. Because we were open for the 6 weeks the 5 weeks in the summer, we did a lot of planning to start, and then we had to do the reopening plan. There are a lot of bits and pieces we're still finalizing, that being one of them. But we will communicate with you as soon as we know the date of how we're going to do the meet the teacher.
And we definitely appreciate your input and comments, and we will, as we go along, we certainly will continue to appreciate input from you. Thank you.
I can kind of tell everybody about our website. It's niskids.org. on that website, you can find the reopening plan. There is a social story for the first day of school. There is a virtual tour of our buildings and how our services work. Also under NIS in 2020-21 news, you can sign up for our email list, and I really encourage all of you to do that. We do a lot of communication now through email and through our email list. So until the Blooms app gets up and running, and also for larger videos, this email list is crucial. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. Give us a call, throw us an email. We'll do our best to get back to you as soon as possible. We are in during the next 3 weeks, off and on. Most of the time we're here. But sometimes by you sharing questions, concerns, we're learning. And if everyone is just patient and flexible, we're going to have a great year and we're going to work together. Our goal is to provide your child with excellent education and excellent services. And that's always been our goal. It will continue to our goal. It just looks different this year. But don't, if you're concerned or hesitant about something, please reach out to us. We will take the time and we will spend it with you, trying to make you feel comfortable and trying to figure out the answer to a problem that's arose.
And Christine, just that's a great suggestion. Once your teacher, Christine just asking about a picture of the teacher or therapist before school. The teacher will get in touch with you before school, and that is a good suggestion. And I'm sure that there's something that they could do for you with that. And thank you, Josh, just is saying that we did an excellent job this summer. And thank you so much.
So I have to say it went excellent because I truly believe our parents did a fabulous job working with us, and our staff is fabulous. I mean, I always think they were great, but we closed down one day, and within a couple weeks, we were trying to teach people who never check their email to do virtual learning. And then
Yes.
2 weeks before summer, we said, okay, we're coming back. And we're still providing some virtual and in-person services all summer, and everybody stepped up. And so I think together we're a good team between families and the staff. And again, I'm looking forward to the school year. It will be different, but it'll be great.
Will the Zoom sessions tomorrow and Thursday be the same content? So it's Wednesday and Thursday?
It's Wednesday and Thursday.
And it will not. We will be talking about different things on those days.
On Wednesday, we're going to talk about health and safety. That includes our sick policy, our health, our daily health checks, and also our cleaning and sanitizing process. And then on Friday, we'll try to do any outstanding questions, do a brief summary, and anything else that's come up. Talk a little bit about curriculum and what that might look like during the school year.
I'm sorry. The nurse sent a note. Health form, you have a new one. Can you fax that in? That would be best. Yeah, it would be best to fax that in if possible before school. The number for the fax is 631-924-5687.
Every parent will also be getting a welcome packet from us. In that, it will have more information about just things that are NIS policies. It will also have some forms for you to fill out. Every child is required to have a current physical. So that just means within the last year, they have to be current with their immunizations. And then there's some emergency forms you have to fill out, a health attestation you'll have to fill out. We hope to get them in the mail by the end of this week. But anybody who needed a physical should have been contacted individually. So more information will come in the mail. But again, don't hesitate to ask if you have a question. Anything else?
Did we record this Zoom session?
You know,
We wanted to. We have trouble.
and I can't tell. So I have to wait until after it's over to see if I record.
Okay.
If not, we will be putting the PowerPoint up. And what I might be able to do is answer some of the questions in the PowerPoint.
Oh, okay. Joshua says it is recording. Good.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. Okay. Excellent.
Well, thank you for our technological parents because, you know, we teach preschool.
Exactly.
I just wanted to thank everybody for coming and participating and really appreciate it. And hopefully you learned a little bit more. We do have the benefit over a lot of schools that we were open. We were able to try some things out and the kids did great. And we're looking forward to the kids to come back in the fall and do great again.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
I just have Polly.
Where's your bathing suit?
Mommy.
Here, look. Here, look.
Mommy.
Here.